Good people of YouTube, I'm the Watch Idiot, and the Black Bay Pro is back, and it's alongside the Steinhart Ocean 39 Vintage GMT Olko Special Edition, long name, and that's just because they're both based on the various generations of the Rolex Explorer 2, which is one of my favorite model lines in general. But lately I've been thinking about the two of these a bit more, just because for a while now many people have been saying that the Black Bay Pro is just a Rolex 1655 copy, but to me that couldn't be further from the truth, you know, having worn both the Black Bay Pro and the Steinhart, which is a direct homage to the 65, and I love both of them for their own unique wearing experiences. So in this video I'm going to get into comparing the two of them, you know, their differences, you know, how they can coexist in a collection, and finally compare how much value each one of them absolutely stuffs into the watch, you know, considering that one is $500 and the other one is $4,000. And yeah, I mean, just thinking about how much value the Steinhart is crushed inside the watch, I mean, I might be starting to regret selling it a few days ago, but you know, we'll see what happens over here. And also a big thank you to WatchCrunch for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's get into it. So I guess I can preface the differences, you know, by saying that yeah, they are both directly related to the Rolex Explorer 2 line, and the Steinhart a bit more so just because it's a direct homage slash clomage, if you want to say, of the 1655. But to say that the Black Bay Pro is a direct copy of the 1655 is just ridiculous, because that pretty much means that all black dial dive watches are pretty much the exact same just because they have a black dial and a rotatable diving bezel. I mean, we're watch nuts here. I mean, we live for the details, you know, looking at the dial, all the intricacies, the hands, indices, cases, bracelets, all these little differences. And that's why we're able to collect so many watches and enjoy the hobby as much as we do. And yeah, the parts that, you know, I just listed there are the parts where these two watches differ, which is pretty much everything. And also, while, you know, comparing these two watches, I'm obviously comparing these two watches, but I'm also comparing the Black Bay Pro to the 1655, you know, at the same time. First things first, the dials, and the Steinhart on behalf of the 1655 and the Black Bay Pro are just so different in this respect. I mean, in short, I mean, the Black Bay Pro has a pretty traditional, if not standard looking dial. I mean, the indices are triangles, circles, and rectangles in the handset. That's full on Tudor. And you know, these elements can be seen on most modern day Tudors, and that's what makes the watch feel like it's a Tudor. The Steinhart, on the other hand, is a recreation of the 1655 dial, which is pretty much a direct relic of 70s design with a blocky and, you know, somewhat confusing look. So the indices on the Steinhart are made up of an awesome supersized 12 o'clock triangle, and then a bunch of rectangles and squares that are offset from each other so that you can keep track of the 24-hour time, and also on keep track of the 12-hour time. And yeah, I mean, I've never seen this look on a watch before, and I mean, I just think it looks so different and cool when compared to other watches, and this kind of bizarre dial is exactly why I got this watch, I mean, in the first place, and that's why I love it so much. And we've got the hour and minute hand, and they're very anti-Rolex because they're just simple white baton hands, and you know, that's instead of the usual Mercedes handsets that we always see on Rolex watches. And yeah, this is yet another reason why I love this watch. I mean, it just doesn't look like a Rolex. And of course, we have the now very iconic Freccione orange GMT hand, and yeah, just the visual impact of that giant arrow and it being orange just makes the watch just look and feel so special. The Tudor, on the other hand, has a yellow GMT hand with a snowflake on it, and maybe it's got like a rough essence of the Freccione, but it's a different color and shape, and it gives the Black Bay Pro its own much more modern feel as opposed to vintagey. Then onto the cases and the bracelets, and yeah, the cases, you know, are profiled differently, the Tudor being pretty slab-sided and the Steinhart looking much flatter. But yeah, basically in the grand scheme of things, you know, in terms of, you know, normal traditional-ish watch cases, they feel pretty different and they wear differently as well. And finally, the Steinhart has a modern 3-link oyster style bracelet, which makes the watch feel like I bought the 1655 that was made today. And then we have the riveted bracelet on the Black Bay Pro, which is a big difference, because if it wasn't a big difference, then we wouldn't have so many people out there complaining about the fact that all the Black Bays have riveted bracelets and, you know, pining after an oyster style bracelet. So yeah, I'm okay with the rivets on the bracelet, but of course I would much prefer to have an oyster style bracelet like on the Ranger, which would have been absolutely perfect on the Black Bay Pro. Finally, the bezels are pretty much the only thing that are actually similar in that they have pretty much the same font. But even at that point, the Black Bay Pro has a sunburst finish on the bezel, whereas the Steinhart has a radial finish, which on the wrist, you know, actually do look quite different. So yeah, pretty much the only thing that's the same between these two watches is the bezel font. And yeah, I mean, surely that's not enough to call the Black Bay Pro the same thing as a 1655. Yeah, I mean, the critique of, oh, the Black Bay Pro can't live up to the 1655 and it won't give you the same experience is in a way right, because they look and feel so different. And if you want to scratch that 1655 itch and you don't happen to have $30,000 laying around, your best bet is to get the Steinhart and not the Black Bay Pro. But if you want to scratch that 16570 itch, which is the watch that I feel the Black Bay Pro is homaging more, then yeah, I mean, I think the Black Bay Pro can scratch that itch, and while you're at it, you can save $5,000 as well, which is something that I can undoubtedly get behind. Something else we can get behind is video sponsor WatchCrunch, and WatchCrunch is a new discussion platform built for better watch discussions, and it was built by a group of watch nerds like us who just got tired of the negativity and the bling over substance stuff that was just way too prevalent on other platforms. And yeah, they just wanted to build a platform that was inviting, friendly, you know, not intimidating. Yeah, just yeah, specifically for watch nuts just like all of us here. Yeah, it's a friendly community of real watch lovers that just love talking about watches regardless of the price and the brand. And yeah, this is one of the really big reasons why I'm loving this, because it's this sort of environment that I try to create here on this channel by talking about, you know, all kinds of watches that I like just because I like them. But of course, YouTube is YouTube. So yeah, I mean, I didn't realize how much I wanted something like WatchCrunch until I found them. So yeah, now I'm really happy that they exist. Oh, and also the overall user experience on WatchCrunch is super intuitive and sleek, and also just being engaging and fun, which is great. And yeah, they also have a dedicated team working and just constantly pushing out new features just to make the experience that much better. So yeah, come and follow me on WatchCrunch and check the site out for yourself. And there's a link in the pinned comment and also in the description to a thread that I started about this topic. So yeah, go ahead and check out the discussion, and hope to see you there. Yeah, because of all the reasons that I laid out before, you know, they can coexist in a collection because they offer very different experiences. Or, you know, in other words, just because you like one of them does not mean that you'll like the other. One is a pretty low-key modern tool watch looking thing, and the other is a blast of 70s design that will undoubtedly stand out from the rest of the collection. So I got the Steinhart back last November, you know, back when they were readily available. And yeah, by the way, sorry to everyone who's been wanting one for a while. I mean, I never thought that my original video would lead to the watch getting sold out immediately, and then each subsequent restock getting sold out after, you know, more videos came out about the Olko Edition subsequently. But yeah, I mean, I've been in love with the unique look and design of the 1655 for a really long time, but all the variations, you know, were either 42 millimeters, which was too big, or they had super intense Fotina. And then it was, I think Daniel in the comments of a random video told me about this Olko Edition, and I instantly bought it after seeing it. I mean, 39 millimeters, it's crisp white indices and hands, and the 1655 style. I mean, it was pretty much perfect. And it was $500, which is just insane to think about. So when the Black Bay Pro came out and I eventually got it, quite a few of you were asking, you know, if I'd be selling the Steinhart because of the Black Bay Pro, and the answer at that time, and for pretty much up until last week, it was no, because I love the Steinhart, and considering how different the experiences were, even after having the Black Bay Pro, I wanted to keep both of them. But, you know, I wasn't expecting to fall so hard for the Black Bay Pro. And also in the meantime, quite a few of you are asking me if it was for sale. And, you know, considering I just got the Seiko SSK GMT over here, I figured that it would be best for the Steinhart to, you know, live on with someone else who will actually wear it more. And I finally sold it to Zachary just a couple days ago, pretty much. And yeah, we got to talking, and the funny thing is that he's got a Polar Dial 16570 and he has a Black Bay Pro. Yeah, I mean, that just further confirmed my feeling that these watches are very different and that they each add something special to the collection, even when they're all together. So value is obviously very subjective, and to get a better picture of each watch, you know, go ahead and check out the standalone videos I did for each watch, and then you can judge for yourself. But in terms of the Black Bay Pro, for what it is, I think it offers really good value because, I mean, yeah, $4,000 is obviously undoubtedly a lot of money, but for that money, you're getting a super solidly built watch that has an in-house movement with a 70-hour power reserve, that has jumping local hour hand. And the big thing about it is that the bracelet feels so good, and it's got the awesome T-Fit clasp, which in part makes the Black Bay Pro one of the most comfortable watches I've ever worn. I mean, just the entire unit feels just so well put together. It's incredible. And obviously, if you're looking for the Rolex equivalent, the 1650 570, they're going for about, you know, $9,000 right now. So yeah, it'll be more than double the price of the Black Bay Pro. The Steinhart, on the other hand, is the value king. I mean, it's just ridiculous when you think about it. I mean, it's got a Swiss GMT movement, and in this case, it's a Sellita SW330 Elaborate at that. And then you've got a solidly well-finished case, and then a solidly built, well-finished bracelet, and a solidly built, well-finished clasp. And yeah, I mean, these kind of specs normally go for over $1,000, and it's basically the same price of the Seiko SSK GMT at about just under $500. And of course, I know that Steinhart didn't have to spend as much money on design, and they can't claim the same sort of brand cachet as Tudor or Seiko, but still, I mean, $500 for all that is just insane to think about. I mean, I would have happily paid much more for the watch, and I wouldn't have felt shortchanged in the slightest bit. So there you have it. Let me know what you think about these watches. You know, if you think they're the same or not, which one you'd rather have between the two, and if you have any of them, let me know what you think about them. And yeah, since you made it this far, hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell button, all the good buttons, and it all helps the channel a bunch. And until the next video, good day.